Coming up on the program, Māori Health Development. It's open now. Tudor Gardens are a sight to see. Emily Rice on going solo. And rates rebates. What does it mean for you? Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Waitangi Day, February the 6th. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Health Minister Jonathan Coleman says applications are now being taken for the Māori Health Development Scheme of 2015 to 16. Each year, the scheme is allocated $8.89 million, which is spread over two program areas, Māori Health and Disability Provider Development and Hau Ora Māori Scholarships. Jonathan says this is an important scheme which works to increase the capacity and capability of Māori health and disability providers. Rapidly rising demand for city centre car parking in Tauranga has seen council plans brought forward for a new parking building, while planned extensions to the Elizabeth Street parking building have been set back. Tauranga City Council is going to public consultation on the new plan with a 350 space construction starting in 2016. But the extra floor on the Elizabeth Street building has been put off until 2021. Waikato region water users are being reminded of the need to take care in or on our waterways and off the coast over the long Waitangi weekend. Waikato Regional Council Maritime Service Manager Nicole Bothaway says it's been an awful summer for drowning, and we remind people that they need to be on their guard always while having fun in and on the water. Mrs. Bothaway says it was always important for swimmers to take a care and not do things beyond their capacity. Key things to remember include parents and caregivers should keep a close eye on children at all times, swim between the flags at beaches, and always be aware of the potential for hazards such as submerged rocks and trees. Waitangi Day has become Aotearoa New Zealand's national holiday, and Families Commissioner Joanne Wilkinson is encouraging Kiwis to use it as a special time to spend with family and whānau. Superu, previously the Families Commission, released a research report on perceptions of income adequacy by low-income families, showing the role family plays in people's perceptions of income adequacy. Comments from research participants, such as "we couldn't get by without help from family and friends," illustrates just how important family and whānau networks are in helping people on low incomes cope. Now for our weather for Saturday. Hamilton mainly fine with light winds. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 10. Waikato mainly fine with light winds, cloud increasing in the evening. Paeroa 25 and 12, Matamata 21 and 11, Tokoroa 22 and 9. Tauranga fine with light winds, 24 and 14. The rest of the bay fine with light winds. Te Puke you can expect a high of 22 and an overnight low of 13. Looking to the seas now for our marine forecast. West Coast Raglan, Saturday westerlies of 15 knots, high tide is at 1:10 p.m. East Coast Bay of Plenty, variable 5 knots, and afternoon sea breezes making it 10 knots. Fine and high tide is at 10:32 a.m. Still to come on Central News, rates rebates, how to get yours, and Emily Rice on going solo. But up next, the new Tudor Garden at Hamilton Gardens. Welcome back to Central News. Gardeners have always been inspired by different forms of fantasy. The award-winning Hamilton Gardens Fantasy Collections explore different aspects of this theme. Cultural, botanical, artistic and historical fantasy are all represented. The largest garden, the Tudor Garden, recently opened. Anne-Marie spoke with Hamilton Gardens Director Dr. Peter Surdgill about the most recent in a series of themed gardens and how the Tudor period will be reflected in the garden.
Well, it was a period really after the War of the Roses. It was a period where there was a bit more security, so they didn't have to have fortified homes, and there was a lot of wealth coming in with the wool trade and other things. So there was this elite aristocracy who could afford elaborate gardens with elaborate knot gardens and sculptures and garden houses and arbours.
Historically, Tudor gardens featured statues of mythical beasts. How is this incorporated into Hamilton Gardens' Tudor garden?
Well, it was very common in Tudor gardens to have beasts on poles, usually holding coats of arms. They were right into heraldry in a big way. And at the time, not all of them were fantasy beasts, but they were right through the gardens. They had hundreds of the things. And we know of, no Tudor gardens have survived. And the only example we know where someone has tried to recreate those beasts is at Hampton Court. So it's really unusual to have that sort of reconstruction of a Tudor garden.
So what are the beasts at Hamilton Gardens going to be holding?
Well, they hold a coat of arms, and really it's 8 of the rock stars of the Tudor period. The Francis Drake and Elizabeth and Henry VIII and Mary Queen of Scots and Francis Bacon and people like that, 8 of the different figures.
16th century aristocracy had a fascination with geometric patterns and symbolism. Is this reflected in the Tudor garden?
Well, not a lot so much in our garden. They had symbols, for example, they'd often have a statue of Diana representing Queen Elizabeth. She liked to be compared to the goddess Diana. And quite a lot of those gardens, they had symbolism to say they were Catholic without being, it was a bit dangerous being a Catholic, but you could have plants that had Catholic symbolism. Actually, in fact, while I was doing the research, I discovered a relation of mine, ancestor, called Hawkins, who was Catholic, and they gave the examples of the different symbolism he had in this garden, where the people in the know could see they were Catholics, but others couldn't. Yeah.
Would it be a specific type of tree or plant?
Yes, I just can't remember all the ones.
Were the knot gardens linked?
Yeah, that's very typical. So the garden we've made is a sort of very, very typical privy garden, where it was very much for looking at from a pavilion or from the house, rather than having plays or social events in it. And it was characterised by 4 beds of a knot garden, a raised gallery, you could look down on it, often a pavilion in the corner of that, and arbours. They were pretty keen on arbours covered in climbers, because it was a sign of being an aristocrat that you had a pale complexion. If you had a good tan, you were a peasant, so they were very keen in the gardens to have sheltered places they could get out of the sun.
Where did the design come from for the knot garden?
We've used a whole lot of elements from different Tudor gardens and records of those. The knot garden design was designed by a mathematician called Thomas Hill, or he called himself Didymus Mountain at that time. And at the Tudor time, he produced books with all these different designs, and one of them, the one we've used, is very famous. It's a very, very typical knot garden. And they were based off Celtic knots, so it was quite an English tradition coming through there.
And when did planting begin?
Last year mostly, yeah.
Tell me about the special characteristics of a knot garden. Do all the plants have to intertwine?
Oh no, there were a whole variety of kinds of knot garden. Some were open and some had bulbs and plants filling the gaps. But what we've used, that they commonly used, was a different coloured mulch. So we've got broken bricks, red bricks, and coal, which give a red and black infill. But they also use sand and broken glass and all sorts of things to create these different patterns, different colours.
So what else can people expect to see in Hamilton Gardens' Tudor garden?
Well, it's quite different. At Hamilton Gardens we're telling the story of gardens through history, and it's just a very wide variety of gardens. Every corner you turn you don't quite know what you're going to strike, and this garden is very different from all the other gardens we've made, which is one reason we selected it. It still looks a bit raw, there's just structures. We're literally finishing it today, the opening, and it needs plants, the climbers going over the arbour, the roses climbing over the Elizabethan wall, the base of the pavilion with plants on it. So it will be softened, it'll look better in a year or two with that growth.
What's the next garden we can expect to see completed?
Council is currently looking at raising funds for increasing the rate of development, And the hope is to make 3 or 4 gardens in the next 3 years. And that'll depend on resources available. And the first one of those to be finished would be the concept garden.
I understand there's a fundraiser also for the Catherine Mansfield Garden. That's one that's proving to be very popular in concept.
Yes, well, there's the Catherine Mansfield Garden, which is a recreation of early 19th century New Zealand garden, but set up for the garden party that Catherine Mansfield describes in her story, The Garden Party. So really recreating that scene in her story. The concept garden, there's a picturesque garden, and then probably the last one to be finished in that group will be the Surrealist Garden.
Tell me about that.
The Surrealist Garden. Well, everything in it 5 times the normal size. And all sorts of unusual things in it, but the main feature is huge topiary figures, and some of those will move, so it's quite unlike. It's a bit different from all the other gardens at Hamilton Gardens, which are based on historic styles. This is really just a children's fun garden, really.
It sounds fantastic. Hamilton Gardens recently received the International Garden of the Year award. Does that accolade confirm that your plans for development are on the right track?
Yes, it gives us a lot more confidence that the concept we've got for the gardens is unique. We really can't find another example in the world, and that was given to us by the International Garden Tourist Network and professors and garden experts who travel around the world looking at gardens. And the fact that they thought it was an original concept gives us more confidence about that. And it's certainly been great publicity. The numbers this summer have noticeably gone up.
Are the numbers up locally, or is it overseas tourists?
We don't have accurate figures, but from the people in our front desk, it seems to be mainly Aucklanders and Australians. That's the big growth area.
Make sure you look at the Tudor Garden for yourself at Hamilton Gardens, Cobham Drive, Hamilton. Coming up next on Central News, Emily Rice on Going Solo. Welcome back to Central News. Emily Rice is an up-and-coming singer-songwriter about to embark on a journey across the world. I caught up with her at Festival One to find out about her new EP release.
It's a whole lot of the work that the music that I've been writing over the last couple of years, and yeah, Find Me Here is taken from part of, like, I kind of took it out of the last song. It doesn't say exactly that, but it's close to that, and yeah, I kind of feel like, because it's, you know, you pour so much energy when you're making this kind of thing, so yeah, and that's, my heart's kind of in that right now, you know, so yeah.
So we can find Emily Rice.
You can find me there.
And Find Me Here.
Yeah, exactly that.
So this is the pre-release, as we said, so what are you going to do for the actual big debut?
The official release is at the Golden Dawn on the 5th of February, and it's just going to be a party. It's going to be a good night.
It's almost like a little bit of a leaving do, one might say as well.
I'm sure I'll do another one as well. Actually, we're playing at the Victor Arena after that, which is going to be fun.
Well, that's a little bit big, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's pretty big.
We just got asked to play like a couple of days ago with Starship Foundation. They do this like egg hunt thing, and like so they're going to be like we're going to be, the lights are all going to be off and everyone walks in, and then there's these statues all around the room, and we're going to be playing. So yeah, someone heard us play at Portland Public House, and they were like,
wow, yeah, that's something different. That's really different.
I've never played at Victor, so that's kind of cool.
Exactly. You're kind of leaving with a bang, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going
out strong.
Yeah, you're having this EP.
I think I'll finally get on the plane and just be like, I can sleep.
Yeah. Because where are you going?
So I'm going to London for 2 months.
Yeah. And
then I'm moving to Berlin indefinitely. Kind of probably for a year, and then I'll like either go somewhere else in Europe and stay there for a bit, or whatever. I've got a one-way ticket, so we'll just see what happens.
Super exciting. And you want to carry on your music over there?
Yeah, that's the plan. So I did a degree in a Bachelor of Music. Finished that not last year because it was 2013. And yeah, so this year's just been going hard with my music. I've also started a vocal tutoring company, but yeah, next year the plan is just to do music and see how that goes. Yeah.
What do you reckon the audience over there is like? Do you think you're going to have to alter your songwriting or alter your kind of style for them? Or
I've had a lot of people say that the kind of stuff that's on the EP, like that kind of music, would fly well over there. So we'll see. Like it's yeah, you've just got to go and try it out, you know. I mean, if I need to adapt my style and whatever, like it's constantly changing.
Now, you say that you really enjoy songwriting.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you like about it?
I guess it's the fact that you get to tell stories through your music and you get to connect with people, and I don't know, I'm real big on community, and I love the whole, like when you put on a gig or whatever, you have this whole room full of people and you're all there together, and I don't know, people can take different things from your songs and stuff, but you're all there.
It's like most forms of art, isn't it?
Yeah.
People take something, their
Yeah.
own experience.
Yeah, and then just connecting with those people and actually like meeting people after the gigs or whatever as well, so yeah.
Because you were actually part of a duo as well.
Still am.
You won't guess because you're playing it next week, aren't you?
We're actually playing in about an hour's time here. at
Well, there we
Festivals.
go. We'll go film that as well so you guys can see that. But why did you want to do some solo work as well?
So through the degree, I was doing lots of my own writing as well, and some songs I'd write and then be like, oh, this is definitely We Still the Sun, this is a duo kind of song, and then others I was like, oh, I can imagine a band and all this big stuff going on, and so, yeah, like, it just, I don't know, I've always like, yeah.
Wait for you to leave me here. Just hear me out before you walk away. Pardon me for the painful interjections, but I hate it. We can't all have good hearts. We've all got to start somewhere. Hating, don't let it turn you cold, 'cause all that you've been told will be here will come.
Morning arrived before the sun did shine. The donkey Balaam, the princess of Moab, off on the track to meet Balak. Step by step and hoof by hoof, round the bends and beats of the breathing. Donkeys are up ahead. Angel of the Lord with sword in hand. Scared, confused, what could she do? But down to the field where her white eyes teared. Bam, beat her. Wrong way to treat her. Up she got and on she went, round the bends and beat of the panting. Donkeys are
You can follow Emily Rice on her Facebook page. And our last story, rates rebates. What does it mean and who is eligible?
It's a low-income, it's a scheme provided for low-income earners. It's put out by the Department of Internal Affairs, and councils administer it on their behalf.
So who is eligible? You said it's low income, so how low income do you kind of have to be?
It's roughly around 25,000, although however if you earn more or less than that you still may be eligible, and you might just get a partial rebate rather than the full amount. Yeah.
Now, what is the value of a rebate? I mean, you know, is it a particular number for every single person, or?
No, the maximum rebate is set for this year is $605. So, like I said before, if somebody earns, say, over that 25,000, they may get a rebate of $300 or something along those lines. So it's still a contribution towards their rates.
Do you have many people actually applying for their rebate?
We've got about 1,200 a year. However, we've been told for our district there's about 3,000 out there that should qualify. So there's only half, unfortunately, getting these rebates, which we want to increase, obviously.
Because I mean, how much of a percentage of your actual overall rates would it be?
Well, average rates are around $2,000 a year. So if they got the $605 rebate, you know, it's a quarter of your annual rate bill. So it's a huge saving if people can qualify for this.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're on that lower income. I mean, $600
Big
is
help.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we actually go about and get a rates rebate?
It's actually really simple. We make appointments, so you can make an appointment at any of our Matamata, Morans or Te offices, either by phoning or calling in, and we make an appointment for you. Appointments take about 10 minutes. There's a little bit of information that we need you to provide, but other than that, it's really simple, and then we give you money.
And who doesn't want free money?
Exactly, yeah.
Are you finding that people, why do you think people don't apply for it?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if they're just not aware that this scheme exists, or if they're a little bit hesitant about, you know, what they needed to do or and how they needed to go about it, if it was too hard. But honestly, it's not hard. It's very simple, and we'll help you all we can. Yeah.
Because you said it is a national scheme, so it's, you know, it's all around the country. Why do we not hear more about it?
I'm not too sure really. We're trying to in Little Matamata Piako get it out there because we want to help people as much as we can with their rates. We know it's not easy out there, and so whatever we can do to help, we're here, yeah.
So say if I did apply for my rates rebate, what's going to happen? Are you going to give me $600 in cash straight away? Or?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? No, unfortunately it doesn't work that. So it is a rebate on your rate. So what happens is we send the applications away to the Department of Internal Affairs. They do audit these applications, and then they'll refund council the money, which is then applied to your rates. So we can definitely help further though, like it will, if you're paying automatic payments and things like that, it can reduce what you're paying, and we can work out those payments for you. And we've got a really good record. We've had no returns from Department of Internal Affairs, so we must be doing a good job.
So just remind us again, who is eligible, how much we can get and how to do it.
Okay, so anybody that was living at their property or the house that they own on 1st of July 2014, that's a low income earner, but hey, just, you know, talk to us. We can help around that side, and yeah, just come in and bring in your information, make an appointment, and we'll sort you out.
You can visit any of the Matamata Piako Council offices to find out more about rates rebates. That is Central News for today and this week. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or you can email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. Join me again next week for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening and a great long weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.